Welcome to Tools, Tech, and Gear. I'm Seth. Thank you so much for joining in. Today I have an exciting product. This is the Litheli 10-inch pole saw. It's a 40-volt battery-operated pole saw. Let's go ahead and unbox this and try it out. It's quite long, so I won't be able to do my traditional turntable spin, but let's go ahead and see what we can do to get this out of the box. To be transparent with you, this company sent the product for me to test out. They also sent a pronunciation guide, and I probably still did not say it correctly. I always want to say Litheli, but it's Litheli. I may have to go Hulk on this. Okay, there we go. Got everything undone. Get the literature. Okay, there's a lot to this package. Let's go ahead and break down things one by one. We'll get to the saw, I think, last. So let's start off first with the battery charger. And that is going to be right here. So here is the battery. It's a 40-volt battery, and it does have your 40-volt 2.5 amp hours here on the side. It's got the release clamps here, and you can push the test button right there, and it is currently showing all the lights are charged. So that's pretty much it for the battery. It's got a rubberized coating on the bottom. Will help it not slide around. And then here is the charger. It's pretty big, which means it's got a lot of vent ports on it. And you can see it's got an indicator here. Battery is not charged, battery is fully charged, battery is not working right, and then temperature issue. So let's go ahead and plug that up over here. As soon as I plugged it up, the fan turned on. Interesting. So I should just be able to plop this down in here, and the fan turned on full blast. So it's got one red light, which means it is currently charging. We'll let that sit over here for a minute and charge, and we will work with some of the other items. While the battery charges over here, I've got my booklet out. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the saw assembled. Here's the shoulder strap real quick. It's just got a slight foam inside, has a little spring, and no swivel. Interesting. And then it can be clipped to the saw here, and then an adjustable strap with a clip that can be taken on and off. It is a 10-inch bar. Here is the Oregon bar with a double guard. 91 is what's got on there. It does come with a little sheath to protect your items from getting snagged by the chain. It also does come with the appropriate 91 P040X Oregon chain. The instructions do say to let this thing soak overnight. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a little bar oil here in the bag while I'm talking to you, and we'll take it out here in just a minute, and hopefully it will be lubed up good enough. Got some of this orange brand bar oil. Hopefully there's no holes in my bag. That would be sad. Okay, I'll let that sit over here for a moment and just soak in that bar oil. The next item is the handle itself. So you can't push down this unless you're pushing the lock over here. It's just a safety feature to help prevent you from cutting things unless you are ready. Here's where the battery will slide in. There is a rubber coating up here on the top to help prevent slipping. You can move down here a little bit to where the strap is going to attach. So if we wanted to go ahead and put that on, we would simply push this down and snap that into place. I'll see if we were going to use that here in a minute. For now, I'm going to take that off. I can see you can use an Allen wrench here to adjust the position up or down on your strap. Move up a little bit more. There is a rubber foam handle that you can hold on to. That's pretty good. And then if you move down here, you've got the adjustment to extend this out. Looks like it's got a pretty good spring in there to pull it back whenever you're ready to store this. So if I want to move this out some, I can then lock that down and it will hold it into position. Moving up here, you've got the threaded screw that's going to attach this to the saw portion of the handle. So set that aside for a moment. Here's the actual motor of the unit. So you've got your bar oil up here, which will just be a little reservoir you can pour into that. Right here is the chain tensioning knob. I'm sure we'll have to use that in a moment. If you need to access the chain itself, you will turn this, unscrew it. Takes a while. There we go. And that's where we're going to be installing our chain. So we'll get back to that in just a moment. You can move down here. There's a button you can push, and that will allow you to angle this up or down. You do have to push both sides to change that direction. So it goes a little bit past straight on this side. You can go straight and you can go down here. There's actually little notches here to show you the position. And then down here is just the threads where we're going to attach this to the rest of the pole. So that just goes onto here like that. And then you'll screw this piece down and it'll lock it tight. We'll get to that in just a minute. I want to get the chain on first. Let's install the bar and the chain. So once again, just removing this front cover off of the saw. There we go. Now this was supposed to sit overnight, but instead we gave it about 5 minutes. So we'll go ahead and pull this out real quick. Okay. Now there's a small indicator right here on the bar that shows how the chain is supposed to be installed. So we want to make sure that we install it in that direction. So looks like this right here matches that diagram. So I'm simply going to install the chain just like that. Okay, right here I'm going to place this right over here, and we may have to adjust the tension here to get it to attach. It's worth noting where the tension pin is. So if you see this hole right here, there's a pin under there that the bar needs to go into, and that can be adjusted back and forth with the knob right here. So just want to make sure that goes to a position that is straight here. Alright, there we go. So now I can put the cover back on, lock that nice and tight, and now I can actually adjust this knob to tighten up the chain once again here. I now have the chain on and it seems pretty tight. Let's go ahead and put some of this bar oil here into the reservoir. So this doesn't really want to stay up on its own, and I'm sure I will spill at least a little of this. So let's see what we can do here. There is an indicator on the side that shows the level of the fill. So let me just put a little in there and we'll see how much it takes to get this thing full. That little bit right there was the first notch. Let's put a bit more in there. There's the second notch. We're almost done. Alright, and it's full. It does not take much at all. I'm assuming that most people aren't going to be spending all day running this saw for cutting limbs from a pole, so they don't have to have too much of that bar oil in there. Now let's go ahead and get this attached to the pole, and we are almost ready to use this saw. Alright, that is locked in quite nice. Now, let's go check on the status of our battery. After about 10 minutes, the fan's turned off, but it's still on the red for charging. We're just going to call it good, and I'm going to squeeze those bits, pull this off, and we will attach it here to the battery connector. Alright, I've got the battery. I'm just going to slide this up under here, makes a nice solid connection, and we are ready to go. Okay, this thing is ready to be extended and cut some limbs. So let's go ahead and step out of the studio here and find a tree limb to cut. This camera doesn't have wind noise protection, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the lever here to extend the pole out to its maximum, and that's it right there. So let's go ahead and cut something small to start off with. Our first branch here is just out of arm's reach, so let me go ahead and cut that. Very cool. This is probably not recommended. I'm standing on top of my shed, reaching out over to get this one limb off of this tree that kind of looms over my shop here. So let me try it out. Well, that worked. We cut the last little bit, drop it down. Nice. It was just big enough to be annoying. I was able to stand right here, a safe distance away from the branch that was right here, and it just dropped on top of the building, and now I can just push that over and throw it off in the woods. But as you can see, that right there is somewhere around a 3-inch limb that it just cut through with ease. I'm going to use this little tree here as an example of how the saw works up close. So you can move the head down here. So if you're going to be cutting from the top of something, it would make it a lot easier. But in this case, I'm just going to keep it flat. And then all you have to do is, of course, push your lock button and then hold down the handle for it to spin the chain. So let me go ahead and just step aside here, and we will cut this little tree about right here. Okay, I hope that was a good enough introduction to this saw for you. So far, it is working flawlessly. Let me go ahead and put that sheath here on the chain to keep that protected. Now, saws like this will leak out some of their bar oil, and it looks like we used basically none on those couple of cuts there. So my initial thoughts on this unit, it is well built and definitely worked as advertised. So if you are looking for a pole saw, I would recommend this based off my initial use here. I'm going to go ahead and use this product a few more times and see how well it works. But I actually have used their regular 40-volt chainsaw, and it has cut lots and lots of stuff here around my property. So definitely working out well. The literature is nice. It has a lot of good information in here. Everything from maintenance to first starting it up, and a bunch of troubleshooting as well. So hold on to that. I don't see myself really ever using the strap for this, because most of the stuff I'm wanting to cut is at a full arm's reach, and I don't need to have that attached to me. Everything else seemed like it was pretty well straightforward. I checked the consumption of power on this unit here, and it was somewhere around 8 to 10 watts when it's off, and it was pushing somewhere around 115 or so whenever it was fully going. And this says it is 160 watts, so there you go. I was seeing somewhere around 115. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this Tools, Tech, and Gear video, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell for more updates. And I have a link in the description down below where you can find the Litheli pole saw with a 10-inch chain. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.